Como esta, Kaibigan? It's Sunday morning. I'm out here waiting on the delivery driver to bring my lawnmower. And I figured the scene's trying to get something done out here in the front instead of being in the garage where they wouldn't hear the doorbell or hear them pull up. So on the LTD, this thing sat outside the garage for like 4 years or more. I didn't wash it. I didn't take care of the paint. So the roof, the hood, look like this. I mean, it's almost like flat black. It feels really rough. So what I did this morning, I clay barred the little spot right here. I saw a few videos on YouTube. I thought I would have to repaint the whole thing, which will eventually happen, I hope. But for the interim, I wanted it to look a little better than what this does. So what I did was I saw some videos on YouTube's, and I said, well, maybe I won't have to paint it. And also I thought I'd give this a shot. So what I did was I clay barred this spot right here, see how it would work out. Then I wet sanded it with 800. I got a whole bunch of Dawn soap in there. That's what I used for the lubricant when I did the clay bar and the 800. And then next, what I'm gonna do is use these pads that I found. They go right onto the Porter cable polisher. And I got them off of Amazon for $53. This is a company makes them, Aberlon. So they come in different grits. You can buy them variety packs. You can buy them all one grit. So I got this variety pack with a 6 or 12 different pads. And I got a grits from 180, 360, 500, 1000, 2000, and 4000. So what I'm going to do, I just did 800 up there, so I'm going to start using the 1000. And then I'll do that here too. This I clay barred already, but I didn't do any sanding. So I'm going to try it out, see how it works out, and then see if it's worth doing the rest of it or just say forget it and then wait for the paint. So I'll get the 1000 grit on there and see how it works out. In the next clip you'll see it. Alright, so I got the 1000 grit done. Some of these little white things were there before. So I had done 800 grit wet sanding here, and then I did 1000 grit on the pad here and here. I just wanted to see how this would turn out, to whether or not to determine whether or not the 800 grit wet sanding was necessary. And it does look a little better on this side where the wet sanding was, and actually I might have needed to go with a coarser grit. There's a 500 pad in there I might try. I mean, at this point it's just like see what happens, because at worst case I gotta repaint the whole thing, and that's kind of where I was at before. So there is a shop over in Pensacola, what is it called, Tusson's Restorations, but he kind of does paint correction with a hacksaw, or hacksaws and cutoff wheels and sawzalls, and I don't think that's the right path for this, so I'm not going there. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it myself, see if I can make this work. All right, so I'm gonna hit the next pad and let you see how that one is. All right, so what I did, started out clay bar, 800 grit wet sanding, and 1000 with a pad. This was just 1000, no clay bar, no wet sanding. And then this was a 500 grit. I put that pad on there, and then I went back over it with 1000. So it's pretty dull, but it's very kind of uniform. I'll say one thing, it's smooth. So I'll see if putting the 2000 on it next will do anything. I think that's what's next. Yeah. So I used 1000 and a 500, or 500 and 1000. Next one's a 2000. And I also tried it on the roof of this just for shits and grins. Did a 500 and then 1000, no clay bar, no wet sanding. It did take some of the paint off that, but it is smooth. Neat thing about this car is the roof doubles as a bird bath because it does have a little catch a little puddle right here. The state, you know, this used to be a state patrol car. They put holes here for antennas, and then when they decommissioned it, they stuffed, what was it, like paper towels or Kleenex or something up from the backside, bonded over the top, and sent it on its way after paint. But it's it needs to be fixed properly. But I was just trying to see, just because on this thing, see what it would do, because the paint's really oxidized bad. It's never been, I think I've washed it like probably 5 times since I've had it. All I do is drive it back and forth to work. So we'll see what that does. I hit a 500 and 1,000 on it, and then next step will be the 2,000. All right, this is after the 2,000. It's really smooth now. I'm starting to see a couple of high spots that weren't really noticeable before. I mean, I know the paint was thin. You can see some there, some there. I think it was painted at like a discount paint place before I got it. The car originally came from North Carolina. I bought it from a guy in San Antonio, Jerry Beza, and then I took good care of it before until I started to do the swap with the 347, and then it sat for a while, so it it needed some help. But I think it was painted at like a Mako or whatever, so the paint was pretty thin to begin with. But it's smooth now and starting to get a little shine there. So next step is 3,000. All right, so at the end of the last clip, I know I said I was going to use a 3,000 pad next, but what I meant was 4,000, because there was no 3,000 pad. It was 4,000. So anyway, the 4,000's done. You can see it's got a little bit more of a shine to it. It's still uniformly dull, but it's actually better than it was. So next will be to put some product on it. You can even hear it. You hear that? Real quiet over here. I think that the clay bar as the first step was better than hitting with 500. You can even see the reflection of the sprayer. This is let's see, what did I do different here? I think here I just did like a 2,000, and over here was 4,000. I did 4,000 on both actually, but I think this I started out with like that 500 pad and then went up. And then over here on the Trooper car, same thing, just finished off with a 4,000. It looks a lot better. It's not this area I did 500 or 800, 1,000, no, 500, 1,000, 2,000, and then over here I just did the 2,000 and 3,000 or 4,000. So this looks a little better than just this, but it's still, now it's time for putting a product on, and I have some. Let me do it over here, get it lights a little better. This came off of autogeek.net. I printed this out a long time ago. A buddy of mine, Eric, he's the one who talked me into getting the Porter cable polisher, and he turned me on to Poor Boys stuff. So I have some of this, the 2.5. I think O'Reilly's carries some of this 3,000 Perfected. So I might go get some of that first. Hit it with this first, and then I got some of this, the Professional Polish. Do both of those, and that should bring it up pretty good. And then I have also the White Diamond and the Black Hole. This stuff worked pretty good on the wife mobile. And I use these pads. The wind's picking up a little bit finally. It was miserable out here this morning. It was early in the morning. It was 90 some degrees out, just about. I don't know, actually I think it was 85, but felt like 90 something because it's so humid. And this has a little chart that tells you what the different pad colors are for. Even if you buy the pads at Harbor Freight, they still kind of abide by this. So autogeek.net, they sell products too. You get all different kinds. I think they have a forum on there. You can get all kinds of questions answered. Luckily for me, I got like I said, Eric, really sharp on this stuff. And then of course, you know, Tuscan Restoration is just a phone call away. If I ever need to see if I need some questions or pointers on my auto body, you know, the care and maintenance of my finish. So anyway, I'll get some product down here. That'll be the next step. All right, fellas. So after the 4000, I tried my old waffle pad and this stuff, the Poor Boys 2.5, which is on the scale right about here. So I went to Harbor Freight and got this stuff, and it looks like it's a little more aggressive. So it was over here. They got a 105 and a 95, and this is 100. So I'm guessing this is a new one because this sheet's pretty old when I printed it out. So that worked out. It was about the same. It didn't really do much. This was with the waffle pad and the 2.5 Poor Boys, and then this is the McGuire's 100 with a dedicated pad, which I got at Harbor Freight also, the Bauer fine German foam made in China. So I mean, it works pretty good. Like I said, they got different pad colors for different uses. So after I did the blue foam pad and the 100, I went to the I went to the Bauer, the yellow pad for polishing, and the Pro Polish 2. So that's what I did up here. It's still got a little bit of, I can tell it's pretty aggressive, I guess, but I didn't do all the stuff here that I did over here. So this looks a little better. That first step of doing the clay bar got rid of a bunch of junk that was probably hanging out, and when I put polish on it, this up here, it probably drug all that junk around. The clay bar got rid of a lot of it. So I'm gonna put the Pro Polish on this, but there's still the reflection, you know, here compared to there. It's a pretty significant improvement, I think. It's not, you know, like 100%, but I haven't done the Pro Polish here. I haven't done the there's a black hole, which is like a finer polish, and then after that would be the Carnauba with sealant. That'll be the last thing. That'll be wrapping this thing up. It's several segments already. So I'm going to do the Pro Polish, and then that's not really going to change much on here, and then I'll do the black hole, and then I'll wrap it up after that. Later. Alright, so I got the black hole on there. That's this stuff. Poor Boys black hole. Show glaze for dark colored vehicles. So that's how it looks. You can, man, that thing is smooth. That's how it looks back here. Now this is the one I did all the stuff. I think up here I did wet sanded too. I think that helped starting out in the lower, because up here I started out at like 1,000 or something like that. I'd have to go back and look. That was this morning. But this pretty significant change. You can definitely tell the difference from this morning when I started out to this. You can see the reflection. Didn't mean to scare you. Should have given you a warning. And over here, Super Trooper, it's smooth, it's quiet. You rubber hand across it. But again, I didn't do the wet sanding, and I don't think I did the, what did I do, that 500, the lowest grit. This, you know, that's how it looks over there. Over here you get no reflection at all. And these, like I was saying earlier, they had holes in them. You see all this oil cans? That's just sealer, roof sealer for a house. I mean, if it works on a house, it's got to work on a car, right? So I just put a round disc, aluminum disc up from the bottom, glued it on, slapped some sealant over the top of it. So far it hadn't been leaking. So anyway, that'll about wrap this up, I think. That is a huge improvement. Now I just got to do the rest of the car. And no, I have not done anything else with it lately. We'll get there. All right, appreciate y'all fellas. Later.